Hello, everyone. I want to do a brief video on the second reflection essay. First of all, I sent out an announcement just now with a new due date for the second essay, which is Saturday, March 13th. I'll adjust perhaps the third essay to give us enough space too. But I want to give more time because I do need to get videos up, or would like to get videos up for the readings I haven't made videos for. The new due date is March 13th. If you've already submitted it, that's fine. That's great. But I wanted to give you a chance to review some of the videos. And I've also, I hope rescheduled the exam as well for 13th. So you have a chance, if you want, to look at the videos I'll be making for the readings that don't have videos for them yet. Okay, so reviewing the first essay, was good. I think people wrote interesting stuff. But I wanted to just give you a few words of advice in terms of approaching the essay. This is really inspired by or prompted by my reading of the first set of essays. Number one, think about, you don't have to, but think about concentrating on just one idea. And that idea can just be from one author, and explore it in depth. One of the things that I saw many people do is to do a kind of a survey. Hit each author, say something about each one, and then sort of wrap it up. I would like the essays to be more thematic. I would like them to be more concentrated on one idea which you explore in more depth. So I would like to emphasize this part of it. You don't want to just mention an idea or touch on it and then move on to something else. You want to explore it in depth. Okay, so also, I just want to reiterate, you do not need to discuss each author. That is not a requirement for these essays. The only requirement for these essays is that you discuss an idea that emerges somewhere in these readings. And it could be just one author. It could be any combination. You can write about all three. You could write about just one. You could compare two authors, or you could, explore an idea that emerges in two of them, or even all three of them. But emphasis is on an idea. So if you do choose, which you certainly can, to discuss rather than just one idea, a set of related ideas, make sure you show their relation, right? Make sure you show how they relate to each other, how, their closeness, or, the way that they actually maybe show us different sides of the same big idea or something like that. But what you really want to avoid is this sort of survey thing where you have unconnected discussions of each author. So again, you can write about a set of related ideas. I think it's an important option, but you want to make sure that that relation is made explicit by you in the essay. Let me just add one more thing to this effect. And I couldn't emphasize this more. Avoid generalities. Get concrete and specific. It's hard to explain maybe exactly what I mean by that, but by generality, I would say, well, you want to avoid things like, well, this is the most important ideas about government, or the most important ideas about power, or the most important ideas about freedom. Those are too broad. Get concrete and specific. Get down to something more particular in terms of an idea, something that has something more complex, because that gives you something to write about. If you stay on the generality level, it means that you're going to lack direction. And feel free to criticize the idea. Just if you say that something's important, there's no implication that you agree with it. For instance, we've all sort of seen, and some of us perhaps really offended and shocked by Aristotle's idea of slavery. The first reading from the Politics, first thing he read for the class. that could be the most important idea, is this idea of, let's say, Aristotle's idea of natural slavery. And it could be important because it's historically important. And it could be important because it's had bad effects, perhaps. We all know that, let's say, for instance, in American slavery, there was a similar argument on the part of whites, not all whites, but, racist whites, that slavery was a benign institution because everyone profited from it. Not so different from what Aristotle said. That could be a reason why it's important, and also why it's perhaps a destructive, just an idea with disastrous consequences, right? You could definitely take that sort of angle with anything that we read. So you don't have to agree with an idea to find it interesting, and you don't have to agree with it to think that it's important. You can vehemently disagree with it. And in fact, disagreeing with an idea kind of gives you a built-in direction for your essay. Finally, think about the actual assignment. The assignment, if I'm not mistaken, asks for two things. First, what is the most important idea or set of ideas? And second, why? Why is it important? I would like to see more on the second. And think about formulating an argument for why it's important. Think about, let's just say that you think that the most important idea is Hobbes's idea that the state of nature is a state of war, which is an interesting idea, right? I mean, it may not be one you agree with, but certainly one that's quite interesting. Formulate an argument for why that's important. Well, it's important because it reflects a certain view of human nature, that human beings are driven by their desires. And this is a view of human nature that perhaps people still have. And so whatever occurs to you, but give some kind of direction to it, formulate some kind of chain of reasoning in support of the idea that this is a really important thing, really important aspect of the text. So, just a few suggestions. I think that the most important thing, get concrete. Your essay should definitely have direction. And you don't need to discuss every author. Do what's natural to the idea. Don't feel constrained that you have to do anything except say, well, this is a really interesting and important idea, and here's why. Concentrating on that. Second step, why is it important? Give your reasoning. If you have any questions or you'd like to discuss your idea, please feel free to get in touch with me by email or phone.